This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How are we doing today on a Monday, rounding out 2024, last couple of days of 2024. This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. You're checking us out on the BamaCentral YouTube channel right here on my own social media machines at Joe Gaither 6, or listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. We're live here in the Derry Daniel State Farm Studios, just off of McFarland Boulevard, here to close down your year. And what are we going to do, Mason? We're going to give you shows each and every day this week. We haven't quite discussed that, but we might be off on Wednesday. We'll see about that. But what we are going to do is give you a show today. And today's show is going to be all about the ReliaQuest Bowl. Mason, I had a friend say, Joe, what about the ReliaQuest Bowl? I said, buddy, it's ReliaQuest. ReliaQuest Bowl as Alabama and Michigan play 11 a.m. tomorrow in Tampa. Ooh-wee. Make sure you follow my friend Mason Woods at MAWoods_. Make sure you call Derek Daniel for all their insurance needs at 205-758-3391. Mason, how we doing, man? You ready to close? You're still in the weird funk where you don't know what date is.
Oh, yeah.
You're in between Christmas and New Year's. It's Monday, December 30th. How's your pseudo weekend, holiday fog going?
It is still just like no man's land. You know, you mentioned it's like nothing happens at the time that it's supposed to happen during this time of year. We got the NFL playing on Saturdays. We have college football playing on Wednesdays and Tuesdays. It's so confusing. I those are I use those to tell me what day of the week it is. It's like, oh, is there football today? Okay, well, it's Monday, Thursday, or Sunday. Or Saturday, but for college football, but now it's just I forgot today was Monday, honestly. I'm doing good though. I am ready to get into the new year. I'm very excited to watch Alabama. The closer we get to the game, I kind of get more and more excited about it. Getting to see Jalen Milroe's last ride in a crimson uniform, so we think. I'm looking forward to it.
What else are you excited about? Because I am not that I'm averse to work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that'll be fine. It's no problem. We got to be clocking in, doing something. So you may as well be watching a game. But I don't have any passion or any sort of, this is what I'm looking for, and I can't wait to see this, or I can't wait to see that. What are you excited for?
Well, I did always grow up with just like a not liking Michigan as is, because, I had my father burn into me that Tom Brady beat Alabama that one time, and we always hate Michigan now. So I think that's always just in the back of my head. Like, it's cool to beat Michigan. It's fun to beat up on the Big Ten. It still feels like in some way this is a win over Harbaugh, and I can't stand Harbaugh. So like that also really gives a little bit to me. But I don't know. I think it's really just getting to see Jalen Milroe's last ride in a crimson uniform. We talked about it a few weeks on the show. We got a little sappy talking about, what he's meant to this team, what he's meant to this program, and, just what a leader he's been, what a quarterback he has been for this program. And I am, I'm happy to see him hopefully get a very good performance on his last day as a Crimson Tide, or as a member of the Crimson Tide, if that is the way it goes.
Well, let's go right there. Jaylen Mbakwe, meeting with the media today, debunks a theory that I have espoused on the show.
Yeah.
I have kind of theorized that maybe some of these starters, these Tyler Bookers, these Jahad Campbells, these Jalen Milroes of the world might only play a finite period, kind of like Cam Ward did. And Jaylen Mbakwe said no. There's been no discussions of playing time limitation, snap counts, or when you're coming out. He said everybody's here committed to try to win the game. So my Austin Mack party might have to go on delay. Unless you can just rake Michigan over the coals. What do you make of Jaylen Mbakwe saying there's not been any discussion on? Oh, we're playing people X amount of time. We're just here to try to win the game.
Part of me wants to just say, it's just coach speak. That's just him saying what he has to say up there. He's not going to go up and say, well, these guys will only be playing these amount of snaps. So that, he can go on like that. So part of it might be that. But I also think that potentially a lot of these guys on this team just want to play in this game. They did suffer the loss to Michigan last year. And I know it's not the same Michigan team, obviously. But there is that revenge factor of like, this team beat us last year. We have a chance to beat them this year. So let's go out and do it. I think that weighs into it a good bit. With, a guy like Jalen Milroe, you also, I think, have to consider he is still kind of a fringe, top end quarterback in this class by a lot of people. And if he goes out and puts on a really excellent bowl performance, that's just one more feather in his cap to say, hey, look, NFL GMs, I can play at a high level. So I think that's part of it also. I don't really know that Tyler Booker has to show anything else to the NFL. Maybe he's just a bit of a personal vendetta against the Wolverines. But I think Jalen Milroe definitely is viewing this as an opportunity, one last time just to get out and put some stuff on tape that looks good for the NFL.
All right, Mason, 1 to 10. 1 being 0 to 10 if you want.
Mm-hmm.
0 being not a factor, 10 being a massive factor, the biggest factor in the world. We've heard from the players around the Mount Miller facility before they left for bowl prep, and Katie Wyndham's been down there in Tampa in some of these scrums asking about the revenge factor. And almost to a man, they've downplayed it.
Mm-hmm.
The only one who has made any comments is Jeremy Bernard.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking it personally. I'm taking it personally based on my loss last year in the national championship game. So obviously that was one of the first angles we all hit from a media standpoint. Is the revenge angle two times in 12 months. You get to bookend both seasons with Michigan. Can you erase last year's blah blah blah? It's easy to say revenge factor. Is it a 0? It doesn't matter at all? Because every time the players have been asked, they're talking about different players. They're talking about transfer portal, doing our own job. We're talking about focused on our own ability, different faces, opt-outs. Are we making it into anything, or what do you put the revenge factor 0 to 10?
I'm probably going to give you an answer that you hate.
That's fine, because we can disagree.
Just right there in the middle. I think there's some guys, a select few guys on this team that probably care about this a lot. The guys like Jalen Milroe, maybe, who has banged the Crimson drum the day he stepped into Tuscaloosa and is like the face of the Crimson Tide, just like, I am an Alabama player, those types. Those guys are probably taking this very seriously, I think. You look at maybe some of the newer faces in town, some of maybe your Ryan Williamses, guys who didn't experience that last year. Maybe they're just viewing this as, all right, let's just go out there and have some fun in Tampa. But I think there's at least a couple guys on this team, and probably very prominent guys on this team who are taking it pretty seriously and using that revenge as a bit of a factor to motivate them.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I was seeing some comments on some of our social media. Stop asking about them. Stop asking about revenge factor. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I thought, partly they're right. It doesn't really matter. These guys, I think as fans, we buy into some of the narratives a little bit more than that's at play inside the white lines.
The revenge factor would be much more prominent if this were, say, a college football playoff game or something like that. I think, considering it is just the ReliaQuest Bowl, that also takes it down a notch for many of the players, I would imagine.
No JJ McCarthy, no Blake Corum. Roman Wilson, was that his name, wide receiver last year? None of those guys in the game this year. And then all their prominent players are basically saying sayonara. Let me pull up their RLADs and see if I can identify how many are out, because I've seen a bunch of these names. Okay. If you haven't listened to the show, this is new for you. If you've listened the last couple of weeks, last couple of days, then this is old hat. Let's start with running back. Khalil Mullings is opting out. That's their leading rusher. The second running back, Donovan Edwards, that's the fellow who's on the cover of College Football 25. He's opting out as well. You have
Tyler Morris, wide receiver.
Okay, is he?
Yep.
There you go.
Colston Loveland.
I knew that. Tight end. He was opting out. He's basically been kind of injured off and on through the season. They got
five offensive linemen opting out.
Josh Preby? Yeah. Basically, almost all these offensive linemen are selected to be first round, second round, third round picks. Like, Notre Dame, they churn them out right there. This Josh Preby, I'm pretty sure left guard is. Do you have a list?
Yeah, I've got a list here.
Oh, read it.
All right, so we got offensive line: Miles Hinton, Andrew Gentry, Tristan Bounds, Dominic Gidice, however you want to say that name, and Raheem Anderson. And then moving on to the defense.
Yeah.
2 edge rushers: Josiah Stewart, Breon Ishmael. defensive tackle, Mason Graham, very notable player, probably going to be a top 10 NFL draft pick, if not higher. Also Kenneth Grant, moving on to linebacker, Michael Pollard, and then cornerback, Will Johnson, another guy, probably a top 10 pick, and Miles Pollard. And finally, 2 safeties, Rod Moore and Makari Page. Oh, man, again, even more. We got a kicker and a punter opting out. Adam Samaha and Tommy Doman.
Did you say Will Johnson?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, so
Jaylen Mbakwe, let's go eat.
Right. So what do you want to make about this game? Like, we talked on Thursday about tackle worry going into this game, and Coach DeBoer basically gave us another answer in his pregame press conference just now, saying that Caden Proctor is expected to play. I was worried, but then you hear this list. Like, how many names do you think you just read? 25?
Probably
22, 18, somewhere in that range. Like, it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous what this game is what turned into, and so because of it, like
25 right on the dot.
Oh, sweet, nice. Like you said you're excited about it. I can't get myself because Michigan's not even showing up.
Yeah.
Like last year, Georgia steamrolls Florida State, and all the Georgia fans go absolutely crazy. Yeah, 66 to 3 or whatever it was, 66 to like almost nothing. But I'm sitting here watching the game like it's a BS exercise. I was just trying to think of a nicer way to say it, but this is a BS watch. Like I barely watched it because Florida State didn't even ring anybody. So I'm not going to sit here and say that Alabama's like worlds better than Michigan, but they're not even showing up.
Yeah. They aren't. And that definitely, takes away from whether or not this will be a competitive game. I think it's mostly just the satisfaction of beating Michigan for my own personal gripes with the Wolverines will be nice to see, because I feel like given what we just listed, this will likely be a pretty significant Alabama victory, knock on wood. Alabama should win this game by 2-3 scores at least.
How many, what do you think what percentage of the Alabama fan base do you think is getting geared up for this game?
Probably.
Am I a minority voice here? Are a lot of people getting excited for the ReliaQuest Bowl?
How many just like casual Alabama fans know that this many Michigan players are even opting out?
I would say very few.
So they're just kind of looking at it as a regular bowl game. Now it is a ReliaQuest Bowl game.
They'll flip it on tomorrow, and the announcers will start talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Billy's opting out. Steven's opting out. Yeah. Johnny's opting out.
I think I don't think you're really ever going to get Bama fans just being like, I ain't watching this team. I'm turning, just because. Sure. Bama fans are Bama fans. They are a very loyal group. They will watch them through thick and thin, whether they, say they're doing it on Twitter or not. They're there watching in their living room. But as the game goes on, you might, lose some folks. Some of the folks, maybe you and me, who are looking for an actual competitive game, maybe. And are plugged in with the opt-outs and things, and also, maybe more casual folks once they kind of learn what's going on and they see, oh, it's 21-3 in the second quarter. Well,
maybe this is the way to have your send-off for Tyler Booker, Jahad Campbell, Jalen Milroe. Hey, you guys are up big.
Unopened, go deep into the bag, Nick Sheridan. Just pull out every goofy offensive play you got, and let's just run the score up.
You guys are up really big. You guys can come on and sit on the bench, and we can watch this Ty Simpson, Austin Mack show. All right, so let's go back to Caden Proctor, because I just kind of glanced over that. Coach DeBoer saying he will play. Thumb up or thumb down? You happy, sad, indifferent? What's your reaction to that?
I'm glad he's playing. Happy to have him out there. I don't think they necessarily need him that bad out there, given, like we just said, all these opt-outs from Michigan, and, they're probably going to be struggling on that front seven a bit, but it's nice to have him out there just for cohesion's sake.
You're worried about, obviously they're not going to throw him out there if there's any sort of long-term damage. I think it's a shoulder issue he's been dealing with through the entire season. And I think it's really hey buddy, can you keep dealing with it for one more game? What would have been your concern level? What is your concern level if Proctor says, ooh, pain level's at a level 12, I can only handle level 10 coming out? And that's, look, no shade on you, but what happens if he says, you know what, I'm trying to give it a go, and I'm just out of gas for the year, and you got to throw Elijah Pritchett in there.
I mean, I think you're probably still okay in this game. I just
because it's so hard to know what to expect with them.
Yeah, it's just, they could now. Michigan recruits well. They recruit at a high level.
Sure.
So they very well could just trot out 7 guys that are absolute studs and just haven't gotten their opportunity yet. Who knows? But pretty unlikely. There's probably a reason those guys have not found the field much this season. There's a reason they are backups. There's a reason other guys play in front of them. So I think I'd probably still feel all right. I'd hate it for Proctor, obviously, and what it means for him. But as far as what it means for the team, I think I'd probably still feel pretty all right if he wasn't able to go.
Okay, we'll keep going back to a conversation from Friday and tie it into Coach DeBoer's comments today.
Mm-hmm.
We threw out 5.5 as the over-under for Jaylen Mbakwe touches, offensive touches. Today, DeBoer basically confirms what we insinuated the last couple of days, the last couple of shows, is that Jaylen Mbakwe, at least for the bowl game, is full-time offense. Like, he might go back to defense in the offseason, but not in these 2 weeks. You're a full-time offensive player, buddy. So DeBoer, doesn't say it that bluntly, no. but essentially says, at least for now, he's an offensive player for this game. Got the comments up on BamaCentral.com.
The way I read it, I imagined him kind of smirking his way through that comment. Also, just like, what I'm saying, folks.
So I think that he's going to get a lot of run on the offensive side. We talked about the 4. Now I guess it's 5 scholarship wide receivers with him included. So let's pin you down, Mason Woods. Over or under 5.5 offensive touches for freshman Jaylen Mbakwe.
I think I'm still going to stick with the under here. I think I'm still going to roll with the under. While he is confirmed to be a full-time wide receiver at this point, pretty much, he's still the newest guy to that room. He still probably has a lot to learn. So I think it's, it's not, it is not as simple as just like, hey, 9, get out there. Like, he still has to learn a bunch of things. He has to figure out, he played offense in high school, but he has to figure out how to play wide receiver at a Division I college football, level. This is not high school football anymore. So I'm sure there's still a bit of a learning curve there that you have to account for.
Like quarterback mostly.
That too, So
play chalk ball.
Yeah, he doesn't, it's not like this is a new thing for him. I don't think it's going to be as simple as just, he's a really good athlete. He's going to be awesome, which he is a really good athlete, and he probably will be awesome eventually. I think it might take a little bit. Give him an off season of playing wide receiver, go into next year, and he'll probably be great. But I just don't expect a whole lot from him. A few gadget plays, maybe a target or 2 in the actual passing game. That'd probably be about it.
And we got to update our mental model, Mason Woods. You said, hey, 9, get out there, which would be nice. He's changing his number to number 6 because he's going full-time offense. He and Richard Young cannot conflict on the field at the same time. Conceivably, they will be at a couple times tomorrow. So he's going to be wearing number 6. I'll go over just for the sake of fun.
Yeah.
Since you would go under, I'll go over. I think that 5.5 might be a little high, but I think that he's going to get
some attention.
4 to 7, and I'll play the over just for the fun of it. I do think he's going to get a couple like pop passes, some of those Kendrick Law pop passes.
Like let him work in the open field and see what he does.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Does he get a touchdown? Does he break one?
Ooh, yeah, no is my gut answer.
He could though. On one of those Kendrick Law plays, he is that electric in the open field.
You think if he does, people would be upset? Why wasn't he playing offense all year?
Oh, yeah. People are going to say that if he makes one catch.
Should have been playing offense. Wasted his talent.
You had to waste all that NIL money bringing him back. Why didn't you let him play wide receiver from the start? Yeah, you'll hear that all offseason.
What else we got from a football standpoint? I made a small little list, didn't I? We talked about it earlier.
What do you think of just new guys on the offense? Obviously, Richard Young is going to get a lot more of an opportunity to play this game. Guys like Rico Scott.
I think Richard Young's going to make people say, "Why the heck didn't you give him the football a whole lot more?"
I think so too. I've loved Richard Young since I don't even remember what week it was. I picked him as one of my players to watch, and he got a touchdown. But he's awesome. He's going to be very, very good.
We've
talked about smart man, number 9 wearing the Young jersey, genius. Yeah, Richard Young. Have a day tomorrow.
He's got a lot of burst, and like he's done it obviously late in games against a lot of maybe some backup players, but
he's going to be playing backup players.
I think he's got a lot of burst to his game, and he's got really great balance. And look, people are sad about Justice Haynes leaving. Okay, but Richard Young's eyes and decisiveness is a whole lot better than Justice Haynes were. Justice was a good runner. I'm not saying one bad thing about him. Good player, good contributor to the Crimson Tide. Expect him to be a good player at Michigan eventually. And congratulations to him for that decision. But if I'm thinking about this team from a fan, analytical, coaching standpoint, I'm thinking, well, that's all right. That just opens up more. We can go ahead and slide Richard Young right on in there. And A.K. Deere and Daniel Hill and Kevin Riley can pick up all the slack that's left behind in that third, fourth role. I think Richard Young has a good day. What else do I think for the offense? I think Cuevas has a good day.
Do love some Cuevas.
I think Josh Cuevas has a good day.
Do we see any of the younger tight ends getting the action?
Danny Lewis a little bit, but not much.
No.
Because it's still going to be basically the Robbie Oots and CJ Dupree send-off. And they'll get most of the snaps. But I think you'll see some Danny Lewis. Offensively, okay, Jeremy the other day said he hasn't decided if he's coming back or not. Do you think that that's just him playing games a little bit with our media friends?
I think so. I mean, I love to follow the NFL draft every year. So it's like my favorite time of year. It's like Christmas in April. It's awesome. I love the draft. Jeremy Bernard is not a day 1, day 2 selection in this year's NFL draft, unfortunately for him. And I don't know if there's someone in his camp telling him that he is, because if they are, they're giving him bad advice. But I think he knows. I think I imagine he's got people around him who are giving him good advice, coaches, agents, things like that, family even. I'm sure there's people who are telling him good things and giving him the correct advice. And I imagine he knows that, I got to play one more year here to go be a day 1, day 2 kind of player, because I think he can be that. I just don't think he's shown enough yet. He spent the first half of this season kind of being secondary to Ryan Williams.
Yeah, and what coaching staff in the country is what coaching staff in the country has been more loyal to Jeremy Bernard? Excuse me, I just got a text message that I responded to in my head. I'll have to get back to later. But has been more loyal to Jeremy Bernard. Brought him in from Washington, brought him into Alabama. I would be surprised if he was not in a Crimson uniform next year. I think that he's just probably leaving his options open for, hey, if I have a 15 catch, 210-yard game for a couple of touchdowns, and make everybody think, oh wow,
go put on a show at the combine in a few months and you're a first round pick.
Right. You never know. So gonna be a lot of fun. Okay, let's predict the game. Alabama, a 14-point favorite. 11 a.m. I said 31-16. Yesterday on a different show, but I think that's too many points for Michigan. And I kind of, I was looking back in the 2019 bowl game against Michigan, the VRBO Citrus Bowl, where it was, I think, 35-16. I don't know. I can see Alabama getting into the 40s just because of the issues, but man, I think this game's going to be so hard to predict because of what Michigan is not bringing to the table. In that game, in that VRBO Citrus Bowl, you've got Michigan took a lead into halftime, but basically Alabama just crushed them through the second half. And I kind of think that it will be close through the first half, close of sorts, 7-7, 14-10, 10-7, 10-10, something like that in that first half. And I think that Alabama will come out of the second half and really, really open things up. I think I want to settle at 31-13.
I'm gonna go. I think Alabama can jump on them and maintain a relatively consistent lead throughout. I'm gonna say 38-13.
I like it because I was almost about to go that high, but I was just like, I don't know.
I think Bama puts on a bit of a show offensively. You know, I mean, like we just said, they are facing a defense that is completely hobbled by opt-outs. So,
yeah, that's the
these are going to be guys who have started the entire season, or most of the guys who have started the entire season, playing against guys who are getting likely their first game experience of the year. So I feel pretty good about Sheridan and DeBoer being able to draw a pretty good game plan for Alabama.
All right, so there's our scores for tomorrow's ReliaQuest Bowl. Let me tell you about our friends, Purple Turtle Roofing. They're the most reliable residential roof replacement company in Mississippi and Alabama. Whether it's addressing leaks, storm damage, or general wear and tear, Purple Turtle Roofing is going to be there to deliver exceptional roof repair for your property. Purple Turtle Roofing is the leading expert in local residential roofing solutions, specializing in providing unparalleled service and quality craftsmanship for all your roof replacement needs. Call Dustin Foley and his team today at 877-PT-ROOF-5 for your free roof inspection. That's 877-787-6635 to schedule your appointment, and one of their qualified employees will come check out your roof for free and make sure you're prepared for any and all of life's storms. It was a crazy weekend in West Alabama and all throughout the state with storms. So make sure your roof's ready for the next one. If you had some damage, call Purple Turtle Roofing, 877-787-6635. Visit them online today at roofturtle.com. Mason Woods, before we get out of here, you can follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_. We need to talk about Alabama basketball on the hardwood yesterday. 105-82 against the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Shooting the lights out on the gym, but as we have complained all season long, taking the foot off the gas defensively. What do you think yesterday's performance in Coleman Coliseum? Rounding out non-conference play, 11 or 12-2 now?
11-2, I believe. Like you just said, this team still has things to work on, and it's really frustrating because it seems like it's very easy fixes. It's not something like, oh, they're deficient here. They're deficient. Like, they have talent everywhere. They got all the 5 stars, all the big names, all the big time players, but you just can't get them to play for 40 minutes. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say to them. I don't know how you motivate them. You let South Dakota State, who I don't remember what they were ranked, but they were very low.
115, 117 in KenPom.
You let them put up 82 points on you. You just get dominated inside the paint by Oscar Clough. And it's just, I don't know. You go up.
The Clough,
you go up big.
15 rebounds.
Yeah, double. What do you have, 26 points?
21, 7 offensive boards, 8 defensive rebounds. For the Clough man.
Yeah, it's just you go up and you take a lead into the half, you come out flat at a halftime, you let them get back into it, and then you just kind of toy with them for the next 15 minutes. You keep them at arm's length, but you never deliver that kill shot. And I don't understand why they won't. It's like they just want to sit there. they're like lions. They just want to play with their food. That's
I guess 23 points is a kill shot, isn't it?
It didn't feel that way watching it. That 23 points did not feel like a kill shot. I think that 23 points is a bit. It's a little. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a little misleading because they took how many threes? They made how many threes in that game?
19 of 55.
Yeah, they were just letting it
They made
fly.
8 more threes than South Dakota State.
So if this had been a more typical offensive game in which you didn't put up 55 threes.
55.
I think it'd probably be a lot closer. I mean,
You made 30.
It was just a lot of trading twos for threes. It wasn't like we're getting stops. It was just, we'll just score one more point than you did when you went down. So,
well, okay, you turn them over 14 times to your own 6 turnovers.
Yes.
So you just look at the shots. They got 71 shots to your 78. They made 30 to your 37. So you did outshoot them. And in the first half, in stretches, the defense did look really, really good. You held them to what? 33 points in the first half. That's a nice little number.
Solid.
You look at their points per possession, you think, oh, it must be better than it is. But in the first half, it was 0.917 that you held them to. So that's a B minus. That's a B minus, B plus almost, because you're looking for that 0.7, 0.6 to get in that A range. So you're at a B, right? Okay, pretty good little effort. Your second half, we said it imploded. Guess what their points per possession was. If it went from in the first half 0.917, what did it atrociously jump to in the second half?
We get over 1.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
1.0.
Oh, yeah.
1.07.
No, more.
Oh, 1.1.
More.
125.
1256.
Golly. That is not victory basketball. That's not winning basketball. That is that.
I tell you this, Auburn
doesn't win against Oklahoma.
Auburn will run your ass out of the gym.
Yeah. 10 out of the 16 SEC teams will run you out of the gym.
Tennessee will run your butt out of the gym.
Yeah, you just I don't understand, and I don't know. Maybe
you're just gonna have to make 19 threes.
Yeah, those are your alternatives here. Like I don't know if this team just really has to get absolutely just like punched in the mouth in one of these games by some SEC team coming into town and just laying it on them. Because I thought Purdue did that. I thought that would have been enough to wake them up, and then you thought definitely Oregon maybe did it. But it's so frustrating. They are so good. But yes, they will get run out of the gym by half the teams in the SEC at this current state.
That feels so blasphemous to say. And maybe that's overreactionary. Are we being? Is it too overreactionary?
I don't think it is. We've seen 13 games of this.
I mean, they make shots.
Sometimes.
35%. You see,
that's another thing. You didn't even shoot particularly great. You just took
better.
A ton of threes.
Yeah, you shot better than your whatever you've been at, like 23, 24. You haven't been really shooting that well from beyond the arc. But you're right. You look at the percentages and you're like, oh, they shot 42% to Alabama's 35 from beyond the arc. It was just every time Aiden touched the ball. It's same for Aiden took 19. Mark Sears took 14. LeBaron 7. Youngblood took 6. Like these guys, every time it's just catch and release. What did Jaren end up? Jaren ended up with a couple as well. 0 for 4. Like my man's.
Jaren, I love you on the defensive end. I do.
Yeah.
But I need you to just be a more consistent scorer. Or if you're not going to make those shots, let's get the ball inside, because I know you can score inside. I'm very frustrated with this team. Cliff Amore, I think, is a bit of an issue that I don't think we've really discussed much.
Because he's not scoring, or
he's a defensive liability?
No.
Yes. Oscar Clough ate his lunch.
Well, he doesn't have the best.
He's got
feet.
Bad feet.
Yeah. He's got great balance, but just not always the best position.
Powerful, extremely strong.
I wonder if he's just.
But he's out of position every time the ball gets into the paint. Oh, he's out of position.
Do you think that's on him, or do you think that's on Brian Adams, or mixture, or scheme, or not understanding? Like,
it's kind of on him, because he got yanked in the first 2-3 minutes of the game yesterday.
Well, he got lost.
You throw Sherrell out there, and he gets 2 or 3 stops back to back.
Yeah, you're right. He did. He got lost on coming back down the floor early. Clough slipped in behind him before everybody got set, and it was an easy dump
it's like
down.
He's just a step behind everyone else. I don't know what
thinking.
It is.
He's thinking. He's thinking too much. He's
trying more instinctively. I don't know. Maybe they just need to tell him, "Hey, buddy, go just hang out, just play your game down there. Don't worry about all these, switching around and everything. Like everybody, just play around him, play around Cliff, and let him dominate the paint." I don't know, because you cannot roll with what he gave you last night into SEC play. Because I like Sherrell, but he can't do what he did for 40 minutes last night.
No.
Or for even 25.
Yeah, he gave you 13 minutes.
And I would say
that's
8 of them were pretty good.
Yeah, it's probably about his limit right there.
He got you some good stuff.
He dominated on the rebound department. I mean, granted, South Dakota State, smaller team, you should be dominating them, but you got 40 to 45 total. You ended up with 17 offensive rebounds. You just really can't give up 13 offensive rebounds yourself. Oh, that's got to be improved. You gave up 16 second chance points. That's part of it. The defensive possession has to be over when the missed shot happens.
Way too many offensive rebounds. It's just nobody boxes out. It's, it's like everybody looks at each other and says, you got him, and then no one boxes anyone out.
So, non-conference play is over.
I don't feel as good as I wish I did about this team.
Right. The record tells you should feel great about this team. The record says this team's about to be one of the contenders in the league. But here we go. Alabama playing on Saturday, Oklahoma.
Porter Moser's got a squat.
Yeah, Final Four. What, he took Loyola Marymount to the Final Four, right? Or Elite Eight at least.
I think it was Elite Eight. I can't remember now. Everything runs together.
I won't be surprised. I think this team absolutely could win the league. But I won't be surprised if they finish fifth. If they finish sixth, because of what's just kind of these habits that I think haven't really been broke. Now, I just still will keep going back to, is it a rotation issue? Will you cut it down to 7, 8?
I mean, we saw them cut it down to 9? You were missing Darian Reed. You were missing Houston Millette. It still didn't look super pretty.
It'll be very interesting to see how this team progresses, because, you go 19 of 55 any night, 105 points. It's going to be hard for anybody to beat you.
If they can do that for the rest of the games this season,
it just doesn't feel stable.
No, it is. It's not stable. That's a good way to put it. That's like the perfect way to put it. It's not a sustainable way to play. It's like when people talk about this. I always hear this criticism with like scrambling quarterbacks. I always say it's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable way to play. Like, I think that's unwarranted, but it is warranted with this team. Like, they just they look really good. I mean, on paper, everything's pretty. 11-2. You got all these fancy names, all these big time scorers and everything, but it's just when you actually watch them play, when you dig into what they do, there's a lot to be desired.
Is it insane to take 19 3-pointers, Aiden Holloway? Oh, were you sitting there? I mean, we watched it together. Yep. Were you sitting there like I was sitting there thinking, "Chill out, buddy."
Me too.
But he goes in the post game says that Coach Oates says, "Oh, he gets mad when I don't shoot," and it's like a little bit. You might want to chill out a little bit. But 8 of 19.
8 of 19.
Still, I mean, nearly 50%, right?
Yeah, was that about 42?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a pretty good shooting night for him, specifically.
19. It just seemed like it just seemed excessive.
If you can go 42% though every night, I'm okay with you jacking up 23s. If you get me 8 or 9 makes a night, that's cool.
Well, yeah. Well, is the record? Is John Petty still the record 10. Holder at 11? 10 or 11?
I think it was 10. I was at that game. Alabama versus A&M. They played A&M. The first game I ever went to. For the flamethrower Petty. He used to beat up on my high school in high school. 26
points for Aiden Holloway. Sold a dream at Auburn and now thriving here in Tuscaloosa. I think this team can beat anyone in the SEC.
The ceiling for this team is still a title.
Yeah.
Easily.
But hey, would you bet on it? What would it be? $5. Mm-hmm. I'm not going more than 5. You can't talk me into $20, $25.
I have people at Home Depot ask me, they always ask me sports stuff. They're like, "Oh, no, you do that. Let me ask you this, whatever it is." And it's always, now it's become, "What do you think about this basketball team?" Because I talked them up all off season about, y'all got to get ready. The Bama basketball team, they're going to be good this year, and they are good. But I've had to unfortunately shift to telling them now, I wouldn't hold out hope that they're going to win it this year.
All right, the league is just so good, and the defensive errors are bad. Just not been really worked through consistently.
No. I still think, compared to where you were last year, you're still a lot better defensively.
Sure. Yes. Yes.
Remarkably so, but it's not enough.
But it's still December. We'll see what happens when the calendar turns in 2 days into 2025. The boys will be playing SEC play. And look, maybe it does take one smack in the mouth and the guys say, "Hey, this is a real big league, real big boy league." The undefeated, your SEC champ is not going undefeated in the league this year. We'll say that. So don't expect that. And maybe they do catch a couple breaks and put a couple things together and find themselves on top of the league at the end of the year.
Man, this would be a crazy year to go for a double title.
Be really prestigious.
Mm.
You got anything else for the people, Mason, over the weekend before we get out of here? Oh, I guess we should. Aren't there playoff games tomorrow?
Yes, there's
Okay.
one. I think Boise State,
Penn State,
and then the other ones are the next day on Wednesday. Which I don't know why they're putting one game by itself and then 3 on the next day. Just do it 2 and 2, but whatever. I wanted to ask you also briefly. The discourse surrounding Cam Ward this weekend was just so absurd. I wanted your take on it. Because I thought it was ridiculous. I thought, anybody who knows their 2 cents about how the NFL draft is handled and how these players view the draft knew that no NFL GM will give even one single crap about that. But it just people were just rooting, tearing him down. It was just a crazy response, and media members too. I wouldn't want a player who quit on his team. He didn't quit on his team, guys. They all knew dang well this was going to happen going in. It's not like he showed up there telling everybody, "Let's go play 4 quarters," and then decided to step out. I guarantee everyone on that team knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, well, definitely. I do think that everybody on the team knew that was going to happen. I agree with you that the NFL GMs are not really going to care at all. I think he tries to kind of. You look at what Caleb Williams did, opting out to let his backup quarterback get reps to basically kind of scare off people in the transfer portal. I do think there's some value in that, but I think Cam Ward also wanted to put some tape out there.
Yeah,
I didn't have any problem with it because I don't give a rip about these bowl games.
The Pop-Tart Bowl, though, come on.
No, are they fun? Yes, they are fun. But as far as do I care about who's playing and who, you get people, oh my gosh, well, Navy beat Oklahoma, so of course Alabama stinks. And it's like, oh my gosh, these bowl games are they should be viewed in a vacuum. Such a this is in its own world by itself, where you're bringing in X amount of players, and some players have different. So Cam Ward opting out, who cares?
Yeah,
I
think yesterday
you got to understand these bowl games are.
I think yesterday Eli Drinkowitz was during a press conference, and he even said, literally said straight up, "Well, it's an exhibition. It's an exhibition game." That just showed no one is viewing these games as you want to go out and win the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Well,
we need this prestigious toaster in our trophy case.
Well, you want to win, of course. It ends the season on a high note. It sends you into the next year on a good note. But I think that, I don't think winning is the most important thing in a bowl game. I think that the most important thing is having a good experience with your team, because most of these bowl games are, rewards. Here's your 3-day vacation, 4-day vacation, whatever the case may be. The guys have been in Tampa since last Thursday, maybe, right after Christmas, and they got to do Busch Gardens, and they got to do all that fun stuff. I think that of course you want to win, but we want to put all of our guys in the best positions that they can. If you're Jalen Milroe and you need a good performance for the NFL draft, we want to see you do that. If you are Cam Ward and you just want to come out, I don't care. I just don't. Maybe that shows I don't care enough about my job, but I just don't care enough to rake these kids over the coals because I view these bowl games in such vacuums. I don't care that Vanderbilt beat Georgia Tech in the Birmingham Bowl. Was it a fun game? Yes. Was it a physical game? Yeah, it was. And Diego Pavia smoked a cigar in the locker room, and people were saying, "Oh, well, you're not Joe Burrow. That wasn't a national championship game." Who cares? Diego Pavia was celebrating the end of the season.
Somebody said Joe Burrow did irreparable quarterback to saucy white quarterbacks.
He's celebrating the end of a season, a good performance. He's about to have 8 months off before his next game. And he's celebrating the fact that he just won a big decision from the NCAA and the courts and stuff. He's coming back another year. I just do not care enough to get upset about any of these bowl games and any of the happenings, the players opting out, the players, this and that. Like, I just don't care.
You mentioned that ruling. That does remind me. I don't think we talked about this, but Kalen DeBoer did maybe hint at it. Maybe Alabama getting Justin Jefferson back?
I think that's I think it's 93%, 95% likely at this
what
point.
It seems like. That would help this defense a lot next year. I mean, just one more experienced veteran guy who knows the system, who knows what he's doing out there. What did he say? It was a Christmas present for Alabama, I think. Good Christmas present for the Tide. That was one we didn't mention when we ran down our gifts for everyone last week.
Absolutely. It'll be him and Nakai Hill-Green and Justin Okoronkwo.
Feel pretty good about that group.
Okoronkwo is going to be a monster. People, I think.
Buy stock now.
Yeah, I think that the people in the know, but they look at that name and they just see a big name. And it's kids from Germany and he hasn't played big time football. He's going to be a bleeping monster.
Mm-hmm.
I think that.
Just got to unlock him.
Just let him go. I think he's going to be incredible. All right, real quick, let's pick these playoff games because we may not do a show Wednesday. I think I'm going to drive up to Chattanooga to watch some of these games with my cousin. But we'll play it by ear. Tomorrow, we already picked the Alabama game. Penn State, Boise State. Penn State 11-point favorite in the VRBO Fiesta Bowl.
I'll take Penn State to win and to cover. Maybe not cover. No, I'm going to stick with it. This still isn't a big game, so James Franklin can't choke.
I think I just want to go the other way just for the heck of it. I'm going to take Boise State to win.
Genty is the X factor for the Broncos.
Yeah, the line of scrimmage is my big concern. What did they end up doing with Oregon? Because I know they competed with them, but fairly decently. They lost, 37-34 at Oregon.
Went off.
At Oregon. Genty had 192 and 3 touchdowns. We'll take the Boise State.
I would like that.
Give me the Broncos.
I would like that. I would love to see that.
Wednesday, the next day, January 1st at noon Central Time, the Texas Longhorns are playing the Arizona State Sun Devils in the Peach Bowl. Texas, a 13-point favorite. Don't do it.
Give me the Devils. Give me the Sun Devils. I love the Sun Devils. I love Kenny Dillingham. Give me the Sun Devils.
You're a fool.
I love it. Texas is going down.
You're a fool.
That pretty boy spaceship logo you got, it's getting flipped over, bucko.
You're a fool. Scatterboos, they're all getting
Scatterboos going for 250.
They're all getting shut down. They ain't played a defense like this Texas defense.
I believe.
I think it's going to be a massacre. I think it's going to be one-way track, like 24-0.
Could be.
24-7, somewhere in that range. That's what I'm thinking. Texas.
The Sun Devils are scrappy.
4:00, Oregon is playing Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. Ohio State is a 2.5-point favorite.
I like Ohio State in this one.
I do too.
I mean, it's hard to beat a team twice. We have gone through that countless times on this show with other matchups. And Ohio State they're at an all-time high right now with that win over Tennessee.
Yeah, I'll go with you. Yeah, I'll go with you and say Ohio State as well. 7:45, Notre Dame is against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. You can't spell sugar without UGA. The Dogs are a 1-point favorite with Gunnar Stockton under center.
Only 1 point?
Because of Gunnar, baby. Because we ain't got no Carson Beck. Carson Beck's elbow went boop, boop.
Shoot. They're sleeping on you, Gunnar. Sleeping on you, Gunnar.
Carson Beck's elbow went.
Give me the Dogs and give me the Dogs to cover by a wide margin.
Sugar is falling from the sky.
That's at least a 2-touchdown win.
Larry Monson, we love you on this show.
Close in the first half. Georgia blows them out in the second.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there as well. The only thing I don't feel good about is Ohio State Oregon pick. I think Oregon's got a really good chance to. I think we might be over. I think our eyes might be lying to it just a little bit based on what we saw against Tennessee.
It's possible.
Just for the sake of the show, I'll flip my pick. I'll go Oregon. So I went Boise State, Texas, Oregon, Georgia. You're going Penn State, Arizona State, Ohio State, Georgia. All right.
The Sun Devils.
That'd be a lot of fun. We might be having a show. We'll have a show. We'll figure out what we're going to do tomorrow with Alabama's game day. That's going to be weird. And then we'll probably reconvene Wednesday for a post-game show after Alabama. We'll figure that out. We will definitely cover a show, reacting to the ReliaQuest Bowl. As Alabama takes on Michigan tomorrow at 11 a.m. Follow Mason Woods at MAWoods _. Follow us at BamaCentral. I am at Joe Gaither 6 on all social media machines. You can leave us a comment, a question, a query, and complaint. If you have stuck around this long, leave us a roll tide in the comments so that we know that you're listening, and we appreciate you so much. We'll be back to break down Alabama's game, win, lose, or draw against the Michigan Wolverines right here on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither 6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.